Hey, what's going on, guys? Marvin here. Welcome back to another video. So I'm going to be answering some of you guys' questions. I know you guys really enjoy these Q&A videos, and I really enjoy doing them as well because it helps you guys out when you guys get into those difficult situations with Amazon and you don't know what to do. So if you guys don't know how this works, just make sure you leave your questions down below in the comment section and I will answer them or make a video about them if the question is something I can go really in depth with. If it's just a yes or no question, then I'm not gonna put it in the Q&A. All right, so this first question is from Leslie Lopez. Let's say I apply for a product on Amazon, go to my Seller Central account, and then try to submit to sell, but I'm not allowed. So let's say she's trying to list the product, but then she finds out she's gated, right? So you add your product to your inventory, and then it comes up that you need to request approval for that product. So then I just send the application, ? Therefore, I do not need to contact brands directly anymore. It looks like one of my recent videos led to a little confusion when it comes to the listing and ungating process. So let's clear it up for anybody who's also confused about this topic. So you need to submit your application with Amazon to be ungated. Now you can do that one of two ways. You can submit an invoice from your supplier. It could be your distributor, could be the brand you're working with, or it can be a letter of approval from the brand, is what I'm assuming you're referring to. You do not need both, you need one or the other. So if you are referring to this, if you get a invoice from your supplier and then you get ungated by Amazon, you do not need a letter of approval from the brand. If you're trying to work with that brand, obviously you're still gonna need to go and contact them directly to be able to buy from them directly. But specifically when it comes to ungating, you do not need both. You just need one or the other. It can be either one, and then once you get ungated with an invoice or once you get ungated with a letter of approval from the brand, you don't need the other one and you're gonna be all good to go. Now, which one should you do? You should go with the invoice. Just get an invoice, submit it. It's super easy and fast. It's gonna be a much easier route to go than going the letter of approval. They both work, obviously, but the invoice will work better. All right, so next question is from Canturk. So how do I know how much my shipping is going to cost? Because in some cases it might cost more than what I pay for the product. Yes, you absolutely need to take shipping costs into account. And when it comes to shipping costs, it's hard to really pinpoint exactly how much you're going to pay for each and every product that you send in. But you can go off of a rough estimate, which I'm going to give you. It's all based off of size and weight. So if it's a big, heavy product, it's obviously going to cost more than a small, lightweight product with reasonable dimensions when you're sending in to the warehouse. The bigger and the heavier, the more expensive it's going to be. You can go off of a rough estimate of 50 to 75 cents per pound when you're shipping in these items. If you want to be a little bit more conservative, go off of the 75 cents per pound. Usually at that price, it's going to be high, but if you really want to be conservative with how much you're going to make, you can use that as a rough estimate when you're trying to figure out if you should buy this product or not. Usually it's going to be closer down to the 50 cent mark with 50 cent per pound, but it's not exact. Remember, this is a rough estimate that I'm giving you so that you can use it for yourself. But shipping costs, you absolutely need to take shipping costs into account before you purchase the product, because if it's a product that you're making, let's say $3 on, and the shipping is gonna cost you $4 or $5 to send in, then there's no point in buying that product. You're gonna end up losing money. All right, so the next question is from Ben Whitmer. He wants to know, if your supplier doesn't send directly to the warehouse, what should you do? What are your options? And I've gone over this quite a bit of times, but one last time, to send in your items into an Amazon warehouse when your supplier doesn't want to ship directly, you can send them to a prep center, or you can send them to yourself, prep it all up, and then ship it out to the Amazon warehouse. Pretty simple fix. Obviously, ideally, they would be sending it directly to Amazon, but if they don't want to, then you have those other two options, prep center or yourself. So next question is from All Things Marketing. I do have a question about having an LLC and website when approaching wholesale companies. Do wholesale companies value those things? Yes, it's not gonna hurt you whatsoever. It's actually gonna be a huge benefit. LLC, that's what I have. That's what the majority of my students have. You can also get an S Corp. You can also do a sole proprietorship, but I usually recommend everyone do an LLC. That's just my personal recommendation, but do some research into the business formation so you can figure out what's the best route for you to go with your business. Now, as far as the website, yes, the website, there's no downside. You can have the website and it'll be a definite benefit for you moving forward when you're contacting these wholesale companies. It's going to be more of a benefit when you're contacting brands directly. Now, when you're contacting distributors, it's still beneficial to have. It's not going to hurt you at all, but you can always use your storefront link when you're contacting distributors and bigger suppliers like that. If you're going brand direct, then I highly recommend you always have that wholesale website for your company. All right, so this next question is from Anthony. He wants to know how much profit at the bare minimum is it worth it to carry a product for myself? And this is typically a case-by-case basis. If we're talking about a product that sells like crazy, the sales velocity is through the roof, I'm selling hundreds, if not thousands of units every single month, then I am okay with taking a lower profit. Usually I will not go below the 8 to 10% ROI. But if it's selling that fast, if it's selling incredibly fast, then I'll go towards that lower end of 8% because it's selling so much volume. Now, if it's a product that's selling 30 units per month and it's, obviously it's a very, very slow mover, then that ROI will need to be above 50% for myself. So if it's only selling, let's say 30 or even less, and the slower it's selling, then the higher the ROI I would need it to be. So let's say it's selling 30 units a month. Okay, 30 units a month, let's do no less than 50% ROI. Now let's say it's selling 15 units per month, then I would need it to be like at 100% ROI to be able to go into a product that's selling that low. Because if it's barely moving, then it needs to be worth my while, right? If I'm selling a product that's selling 15 units a month and it's making me $1, there's not really any point for me to have that in my inventory. Now, if it's a product that's only selling 15 units a month, but it's making me $25 per unit, that's great, right? That's ideal. So it's just a really case-by-case basis, but you can just go off of whatever you want your ROI, your profit to be for your particular business, and it's going to vary product to product, sales velocity from sales velocity. Is it a fast mover? Is it a slow mover? Is it a low margin product? Is it a high margin product? It's just going to depend case by case. All right, the next question is from Nelson, and I also got another question very, very similar. So I just took one, but it's about inventory planning and how we can always have our in-demand products in stock and completely reduce our time from when we're out of stock, losing those sales. So when it comes to inventory planning, now when you have a smaller amount of SKUs selling on the platform, you can do this one by one. You can use the inventory planning on Seller Central to help you kind of guide your way through restocking these orders, but it's not perfect, okay? There's also a lot of different restocking inventory softwares. I use the one on Seller Board to kind of give me a guide of when I should start thinking about reordering this product depending on sales velocity. What you don't want to do is you don't want to just be restocking that product at all times without reanalyzing the product. Let's say it's selling great, right? Let's say it's selling great for 2 months, very, very consistent seller, very consistent amount of units that you're shipping in and you're selling at a consistent basis, right? But let's say after 2 months, more sellers show up. So you're going to be getting less sales. And if you keep sending in the exact same amount, you're going to be sitting on more inventory possibly than you wanted to. Then let's go on the flip side. Let's say a ton of sellers are leaving that listing. Well, now your sales are going to increase because you're the only one left in stock. Then you would need to be able to send in more inventory. Okay, these are just examples, but you get the idea. You want to make sure you're reanalyzing that product, especially if it's one of your replenishable products, because you don't want to get stuck with too much inventory or too little inventory that you're going to miss out on sales. But you can use these different tools as a gauge of when you should start restocking that inventory. So for example, Seller Board. So Seller Board will tell you, are you running out of stock? Yes, no, or soon you will be out of stock. And then it'll also tell you, is it time to reorder? Yes, no, or yes, like soon you need to start reordering your product to get it into the warehouse, okay? You can also use the inventory planning feature on Seller Central. Like I said, it's not perfect, so really analyze that product. And even though it's a consistent seller, you want to reanalyze that product from time to time to make sure it's going to keep selling the way it's selling. It's going to sell maybe more, so you need to make a bigger order, or maybe it's going to sell less, so you need to make a smaller order. Hopefully that makes sense. I kind of went all over the place there, but yeah, you definitely want to try to stay in stock, especially of your replenishable products, especially of your most popular products that you have on your site. You definitely want to make sure you stay in stock at all times, because that let's say you miss a couple of days, or let's say you miss a week, you're losing out on a lot of money, and everyone else is still capitalizing on those sales who's able to maintain that stock level. All right, guys, but that's it for this Q&A. If you guys have any more questions, just leave them down below in the comment section. If it's a good enough question, then I'll just make a complete video about it. If it's a question I can answer in these Q&As, then I will put it in the next Q&A for you guys. And real quick, if you guys are interested in Amazon wholesale and selling on the platform with the wholesale model that has led to tons and tons of success stories through my program, then make sure to watch the video on the screen where I tell you exactly what to do step by step from the beginning to the end so you can start building your Amazon wholesale business. I'll see you guys in that next video.